All right, guys, welcome to episode 18 of the Liberalish podcast. First off, I want to issue an apology. I got the episode number wrong like 2 weeks ago. I think I was saying 16 when I was 17. So this week I got it right. It's episode 18. I want to thank my lovely co-host for correcting me last week. So I want to give a shout out to Carly, Marcus, and Kamala Harris's distant cousin.
That's
I'm not gonna let that go, man. Shout out to Jamaica.
You know the vibe, man.
All right, so I want to give a special thank you to our first-time listeners, and if you're a returning listener, thank you for your loyalty. Please make sure to like and subscribe to us anywhere you find podcasts or on YouTube. So on today, we are going to talk about headlines. We're going to discuss the Wall Street Bets saga, the Biden stimulus package, and if we have time, why teachers aren't getting any love this COVID season, and New York City news. So before we kick it off, we came off a very exciting Super Bowl. You know, it's like a barn burner, it's neck to neck.
What?
Were there any commercials that like stuck out to you guys that you guys liked?
Shaggy
was a good one.
Oh yes, the Shaggy commercial was my favorite. See, I had seen it prior to the Super Bowl, and I was like, "Wow, this is really," because I really liked Ashton Kutcher and Mila together. So I was like, "Oh, this is a really good commercial." I didn't really pay attention to other ones, but Shaggy definitely was the one for me.
Shaggy took it. I think the Shaggy commercial took it. I think the other commercials were too star laden.
Yeah,
it was forcing it for a while. Paramount at Dora, bro.
So nobody liked the State Farm commercial?
The Drake commercial?
I thought the State Farm commercial was funny.
Nah, I feel like they was dragging it.
I missed that one.
I feel like they was dragging it, bro.
I don't know if they dragged it.
I will say the Super Bowl commercials, like in the past, used to be funny.
Yeah.
Like they used to be really funny. And I feel like now they're just really stale or forcing it, or like it's like
I feel like they're trying to be woke.
You're trying to pull a laugh out of the people, and it's not working.
So you guys didn't like that Bruce Springsteen and his Jeep were gonna basically
Marcus,
America? And
that I was gonna bring that up, man.
No one ago, you felt that commercial that Bruce Springsteen walking through the middle of the country and bring us all living in the center. That's gonna unite us and bring us.
It's like the Pepsi commercial with Kendall Jenner.
Oh God, that was such a bad commercial.
No, the Kendall Jenner one. At least there was like other people in it. You know, and you can like at least say like, she's physically like trying to bring people together. This just had Bruce Springsteen in a Jeep in the middle of nowhere talking about unity.
And the center and like the merits of being in the center with his Jeep. Like, yeah, it was a ridiculous commercial. And it's one of the things I do miss when the commercials were just basically funny or just kind of like telling you about like a new business or something. Like now they're trying too hard to try to get people to. I don't know, to make these political statements when it's not really necessary. Like we're all trying to chill.
Yeah, like even like the national anthem, how they kind of split it up. There is no need for that.
No.
Like what's up with that?
And a country star and somebody else.
Right.
It was weird, bro.
If you guys
I just feel like commercials like that be like so out of touch. Like who did you speak to? Like who? This had to go through multiple steps.
People got paid for this.
You know, like I just don't understand like why who thought like, okay, first let's come up with this idea. Let's film this commercial. You know, let's edit it and then let's air it. Like there's multiple steps and I just really didn't see the vision. I was like, I didn't like this.
I'm not gonna hold y'all.
It's a 0 out of 10 for me, a 1 out of 10 for me.
I ain't gonna hold y'all. I probably love the Vince Lombardi commercial. I don't know why. Like it was just so epic.
Did he give him a tan?
Huh?
Oh, he's Sicilian, so Sicilians are typically that dark.
Okay, all right. I was like, who was that the entire time? Like, was this like the first ever black coach? And then when I saw the group chat and saw it was Vince, I was like, oh, I didn't know he was this dark.
No, they hate. Sicilians hate black people because they look like us, and they just hate the fact that happened. Like the Moors invaded Europe, and then they look like us. So now, you know.
I didn't realize that there was like Italian beef until I watched The Sopranos, and they were talking about the northern and southern Italian beef. So.
Yeah.
Because they're always darker.
Italian like Italians really take, I think like Italians from like the like Italians I know and like went to school with like really take pride in what part of Italy they come from. Like if you be like, oh, are you like if you talk to a Sicilian, you be like, oh, are you Italian? I'm Sicilian. Or like, you know, they're very specific about what region of Italy that they come from. They take pride in that. So it's definitely like I don't know how deep it goes, like how passionate they are, but like they really make it known like what part of Italy they come from. Like I'm not just Italian, like I'm from this part of Italy. Get it right.
Yeah, those factors are very present today. If you look at the Italian political situation, where it's like the North is very much, looks down upon the South because, a lot of the wealth and industries in the North, whereas the South is kind of seen as very as laissez-faire. But yeah.
So shout out to Northern Italy. All right,
Of
so
course.
moving on, right? Moving on to headlines. So the 45th president of the United States, as Trump likes to be called, is currently being impeached for a second time. Democrats plan to establish that Trump is personally responsible for inciting the deadly Capitol riot. Trump's legal team is going to argue that the trial is unconstitutional. Kind of around the league, Pat Toomey, who is retiring, called the trial constitutional. And here's a question for you guys. Who does this trial hurt more, Trump, the Democrats, or the GOP?
GOP. Because technically he is the party. And so like they're in a state of trying to redefine themselves, but that Trump ghost still hang over them. They can't move forward, they can't move backward, they can't make no movements without this guy still. And he's not president. That's why Kevin McCarthy went down to Florida to kiss his boots. And that's why a lot of these hardline Republicans who are saying, oh, nah, Trump, the impeachment is right. And the people need to be accountable for January 6th. A lot of them are changing their tone right now because the direction of the Republican Party it's still a Trump party. Like he still got 80 million people to show up and vote. So they're stuck. They have the most to lose. What Democrats could have is appeal to their base, get some Republicans who truly love their country to support them, which is hard to find. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think what the last decade has kind of shown us is that Republicans don't really from Trump down. There really aren't any major repercussions for what they do. They're not really held to the same standards that Democrats are. And I think that's right now you have this question of, are we going to get these $2,000 checks as a part of this larger stimulus? You're wasting political capital on, impeaching a president who's already out of office. It's like, I know there's always that debate of, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can impeach the president and get the bill. But I think that if you're trying to get people to kind of support this $1 trillion bill that a lot of people think is a good idea, and you're, wasting time trying to impeach a president who's, still popular with about 72 million people, still popular with a large swath of the country. And it's kind of seen as like a way. It's a lot. I think the argument for why this has to be done is still not great if you're not really plugged into what's happening. It was a month ago. I think a lot of people have moved on. And we're now much more focused on getting this COVID relief out. Right. So it's like, why are we spending time on this?
I agree.
What are we doing here?
I feel like, I agree. Like in the sense that, I definitely understand the motive behind wanting to go through with this impeachment trial because, the need to I guess use Trump as an example because a lot of people are still even AOC continues to talk about what she went through during what happened during the Capitol or whatever. But at the same time, I also feel like Democrats kind of the Republicans don't really care enough to it's not really like that. I guess for them, trying to get Trump impeached is okay, whatever. Some people are yeah, he's responsible. Some people are oh, he's gone already. So what's the point? But I do feel like we need to worry about the relief. Cause I think ultimately I was oh, maybe, yeah. So that he doesn't run again in 2024. But it's probably not gonna, like, we've seen how this plays out. Like, it's probably not gonna go the way that, you know, the Democrats wanted to go, because it didn't go that way the last time. And I really don't think that a lot of people are that outraged. Like, a lot of people were outraged when it happened, but I think when it comes down to like holding him responsible, it's like we're not that outraged. Like, we're outraged to the point where like we'll say that we're upset with him or that we're mad at him for doing it, but to actually go forth with, you know, holding him accountable and making, like, you know, giving him some repercussions, like, no.
Isn't that an issue within itself, though? Like, somebody tried to overthrow the government itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And it's a huge issue.
Yeah, it's a huge issue.
I feel like trying to say, yo, people move on from it. I know that people move on from it. I feel like that's an issue with the American public. Like, somebody literally try to like destroy the cornerstone of the
That's why I
itself.
say like Trump supporters are fake patriotic, because it's not America. Like, it's not America that they're defending at this point, because if you were defending America, you would see this as like a literal threat. You would see it for what it is, which is a literal threat to the national security of the country that you claim to love so much. But it's not about America. And we saw that like throughout this whole election. It has nothing to do with America, because this man was taking away like civil liberties that you're supposed to be guaranteed as an American citizen, and he didn't care about them, like your health care, like your retirement, like your whatever, like what is it, Medicaid, both of them. Like, he didn't care about any of that. And so it has nothing to do with defending this country. A lot of people have really attached themselves to Trump to the point where it's like, you know, yeah, we're upset about what happened, you know, January 6th, and it's unfortunate that it happened, and it should have never happened, and people have to pay for what happened. But then when you try to make someone pay for it, it's like, oh, well, not Trump, because I like him, and I don't want him to, you know, I want to be able to vote for him in 2024. He made, like, you know, it's always an excuse. And I guess it's such a double standard when it comes to Trump. Because again, I made the point, I don't feel like any other Republican, or at least any other Republican president that I've seen in my lifetime has really had this impact on people to the point where it's like, oh, you could just do whatever and like, we're okay with it. Because he's literally responsible for what happened. He's been like laying the foundation for this to happen the whole 4 years he was in office. And then it just so happened that it, you know, took place right before he was about to leave.
When you're a celebrity, they let you do what you want.
Yeah.
Whether it's,
assaulting do what people, you want when you're popping.
Whether you're a celebrity, whether you're, whether it's, you know, assaulting people, or whether it's, you know, inciting an insurrection, you know, the Republican Party's kind of turned their blind eye to them because he's a celebrity. And it's more of a fan. The way to understand the Trump phenomenon is that it's really fangirling. You have people that are like treating him the way that, you know, teenagers treat Taylor Swift, where they just kind of let them do what they want, and they're just kind of turning a blind eye to anything that they do. They can't do anything wrong. You know, so given that, I just don't know if you know, the political capital, so to speak, if it's worth it. I don't
think it is. Like, I don't.
That's a problem, because he should be held accountable.
Exactly. And I think just knowing how this country works and knowing how these type of situations get handled, it's not going to go the way that we want it to go. As much as it would be wonderful to be like, you know what, you've been, you know, just inciting violence, you've been like egging people on to do things, you've been kind of like, you know, throwing little innuendos out. At the same time, it's like, yeah, like he should be held responsible 100%. But is it worth, you know, the whole trial, the whole like long, lengthy process and dragging this thing out when there's more budding or more important issues that should be, you know, on the agenda? I don't think it is, because I wholeheartedly believe in my heart there's nothing's going to happen to him. He's been impeached twice. Yes. Do I think like all the other stuff that will come from his, you know, his, like him being convicted, I don't think he's going to be convicted. So I don't think it's even worth even going through that, because what's going to happen is, you know, people are going to be like, oh yeah, they're going through the trial. He's going to go through a trial, and we're going to find ourselves in the same situation the last time he got impeached, when we could have been using that time to focus on, you know, more important issues.
So let me ask you guys.
Oh, sorry.
No, my bad, Marcus. Let me actually ask this question.
Yeah.
If this was a secret vote, meaning that we don't know who voted for what, do you think Trump would get convicted in the Senate?
Yes, 100%.
Oh,
100%.
It'd be just like what happened with was it Liz Cheney in Wyoming?
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing.
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
Because they've already said it. They've already said, a lot of them have already said that they're fearful of what will happen to them if they convict him. So we already know, like, a lot of people, because I wholeheartedly believe there are people who are very upset, Republicans and Democrats. I mean, Democrats rightfully so, but I do believe that there are Republicans who are disgusted what would happen. Because, despite how, vile they are, they genuinely have a love for this country. They may have a different love than the Democrats, but to see what he has done, like literally, trying to overthrow and like trying to fraud basically claim fraud the whole election. It has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths on both sides, which is, for them to be in agreement on that is kind of like interesting to me. So I definitely agree that if there was a secret vote and nobody knew who voted or nobody had to like really come out and take a stance against him, they absolutely would.
Got it. And let's move on through the rest of our headlines here. Governor Doug Burgum of North Dakota signed an executive order to look into federal overreach of Biden's executive orders. So, not sure how that's going to work out for him, but shout out to him. Last week, we found out that the Proud Boys leader was a snitch for the cops. And, does this show that like cops favor the far right, or does it show that the cops like kind of like have far right members in their rankings? Should that be like a big concern? And then the second question I have is is the homeboy, the guy that runs the Proud Boys, is he considered black?
The cops are the Proud Boys. Like, the cops are the far right. Like, if you look at most cops are Trump supporters. Like, it is what it is, bro. Like, NYPD police union benevolent society endorsed them. That this is a membership wide vote and endorsement in one of the most liberal cities in America. Like, the Proud Boy founder, like, it's crazy. Like, worked at Vice, he did all that stuff. Like, like, that's why I used to do the people of color thing. I don't do the people of color anymore.
I hate that shit.
I'm black. Like, I'm black and I'm proud to be black, because like people of color, like, like all of those people, like,
they're not, when it comes down to it, it's like there is nobody who experiences things the way that black people do.
What I learned from America is that other minorities outside of blacks try to assimilate to become white. That's the same thing that happened with.
Or they'll throw us under the bus to be closer to the white people. It's like, we're not like the blacks. They're different than us. Like, we're the nice people of color. Like, we got darker skin, but we understand where you're coming from. We want to be with you. That's exactly how it goes.
The Irish, the Italians, the Cubans.
Mexicans.
Look at Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. Ted Cruz's first name is Rafael. How the hell is this man nicknamed Ted?
That's the same thing like Nikki Haley, right? She changed her name to appeal more to voters, but then came out and said that racism is not real in America.
Yep. You got, bro. It's a lot of deep-seated hatred and like
a lot of people, a lot of races, and a lot of like people who have these ideologies join these large agencies so that they can rightfully terrorize lower income marginalized communities legally. Like, people there's a whole bunch of racists in the military because it's like you get access to guns. You get to like kill people legally. Like, it's like there's no repercussions because you could always jazz it up and be like, oh, well, I was serving my country, I was doing my job. And nobody, and like, we've already seen this. When it comes down to cops and holding cops accountable, it's always like that. It's always, they felt threatened. They were defending, they were doing their job, or they were defending their country. So a lot of them sign up, and it becomes like a little, like a little mini, like, there's a lot, like, first of all, there's a lot of KKK members in the armed forces and in, the police force. And that's not by accident. That's not a coincidence. That's on purpose. and they all share the same ideologies. And then it becomes extremely toxic when you have these large agencies like the NYPD, LAPD, who basically run their police force like a mini military. Mm-hmm. And then send the people out into the communities, not to have like liaison or a good relationship with the people in these communities, but to terrorize them. And then when they speak up about it, it's like, oh, well, if y'all were doing better, or if your community was thriving, or there wasn't bad things going on, or there weren't drugs in your community, then you wouldn't have to worry about the cops. But it's like, I'm going to just say this. We ain't got no boats. We ain't got no planes. How the hell you think the drugs get in the community?
That's we're not going to talk about Ronald Reagan. We're not going to touch on that. But I do want to touch on something else, though. The Harriet Tubman $20 bill. So President Biden is looking at ways to speed up putting her face on a $20 bill during the next redesign. It was supposed to happen under Trump, but the Trump administration delayed it for 6 years. And I just wanted to get your guys' opinion about how. Okay.
Yeah, like do we need do we need
pandering?
No offense. It never mattered to me. And I can only speak for myself. It never really mattered to me who was on the bills. Like I'm giving them to somebody else anyway. I'm spending them anyway. Like we don't need Harriet Tubman to be on the $20 bill. I know, like, to a lot of people, that's like, oh, we're moving up, like they're recognizing her. But it's like, if you genuinely cared, like you would do something about the issues that are in the Black community today.
I agree with Carly, man. Like, I feel like, representation does matter, but putting Harriet Tubman, all praises to Harriet for all she did.
Of course.
But putting her on the $20 bill, what does that do for us? I feel like it would more honor Harriet Tubman if you actually do tangible steps to help the people, like to help Black people, like give some scholarship and stuff. Like
her whole premise was about doing she was trying to help Black people. And that's why she's such a historical figure in the Black community. Yes. But I feel like if you really wanted to honor her, putting her on a $20 bill isn't the way to do it, but actually doing something to further her legacy by helping people that she was trying to help, like helping Black people.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not helping us by no offense, and maybe maybe people see it differently, but I just feel like putting Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill it's not any advancement for the Black race. It does nothing for our community, because once she's on the $20 bill, then what?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like personally, Harriet Tubman wouldn't even care about being on a $20 bill.
No. I don't think it was really meant to, the same way we were talking about the Jeep commercial, not, uniting us as a country. I don't think the Black race was going to be elevated by putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. I think they really just wanted to put a woman on the $20 bill, while also kind of dealing with Andrew Jackson being the face of a $20 bill. And the woman they settled on was Harriet Tubman versus Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony, Sojourner Truth, a number of them. They just wanted to have some representation, because again, we have mostly just old white men. They wanted to kind of mix it in. They wanted to have something more representative of the country we're becoming. So that's all it was. I wouldn't read into it too much.
Are racist, bro. All of those white women are racist.
Sojourner Truth is racist.
The white women you named before that, the ones that
Elizabeth
Cady Stanton.
Susan B. Anthony was racist as fuck.
They kicked Black women out of the movement.
I will say, as a woman, sorry, go ahead.
Wasn't Susan B. Anthony was like, the Negroes can vote and we can't vote?
The suffrage movement. There was like multiple suffrage movements. Like Black women weren't included.
Was she lying though?
Like I understand the premise of trying to like remove ourselves from this idea of older white men who have led the country, or who have been historical figures in the country. So I understand wanting to include a woman, and a Black woman at that. But as a Black woman, I'm like, okay,
That's honest. And honestly, I think that's the proper response. It's okay. It's a $20 bill. It's not.
That's fair.
No one's putting any pocket money in your pocket. It's a picture of like who even looks at money. Does anyone even?
That's what I said. I said that. I don't even look at. I don't even care.
It's one of those things where it's like, who cares? All right, like it's not. It's a nice gesture,
I think they're making it a bigger deal than what it is. It's literally just putting someone's face on a dollar bill that's getting circulated regardless. Right. So that's how I feel about it. I wasn't like saying it to be like, oh, it's supposed to be such a, monumental thing, but I feel like they're making like the way that this has drug out. If you really care, just put her ass on a $20 bill. Like, I don't know why it's been taking 6 years to put her on a $20 bill. Like,
because again, it's part of this like rolling back things that Trump had done when Steve Mnuchin had stepped in. He kind of delayed. So it's like
just I feel like if it's just to put her on the $20 bill to be like, hey, it's not just about these old racist white men. Just fucking call the Treasury and be like, yo, like start printing Harriet on the $20 bill. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's like just if you want to get it done, get it done. And then like whatever, like we'll just see it. Like next time you go to the bank and they give you a 20 and you see Harriet, be like, oh, Harriet on 20 now. I don't really feel like why we gotta sit here and like talk about it over and over and over and over again. Like just if you're gonna do it, just do it.
All right, fair enough. Let's talk about real money. So last week they had the Wall Street Bets saga. If you're not familiar with Wall Street Bets, that was like a subreddit on the popular social media app called Reddit. So a bunch of guys on this subreddit kind of got together and decided that hedge funds were shorting. What was it? GameStop. Hedge funds were shorting GameStop, and that they pretty much overplayed their hand when it came to shorting it. And so a bunch of these people on Reddit got together, bought a whole bunch of stocks of GameStop, shot the price up, and caused like these hedge funds billions of dollars. There are some pretty funny scenes. I don't know if you guys watch CNBC, but there was this clip of like hedge fund billionaire Leon Cooperman.
Oh, he was so mad.
Oh my God. He was so funny. It was so, I wish we had the capabilities to play clips on here, but it was so funny.
Yeah, it was such a good clip. He was cursing at everything. The host looked genuinely like, what do I do? It's Leon Cooperman, but it was such a good little rant that he gave. He's so mad.
What was it? He was like, these kids and their government checks are out there trying to attack wealthy people.
Yeah, he's like, I don't like it. It's people talking about fairness and it's bullshit. And it's like, you can't do this. So he was so mad. It's like, bruh, you're one of the richest people on Wall Street. What are you complaining about, my guy?
You're fine.
So upset though.
You're absolutely fine. So this entire ordeal is absolutely hilarious. Like, it was nice to see that Wall Street kind of like got a taste of their own medicine, or at least like the hedge funds got a taste of their own medicine. Because on one end, you're betting on a company to fail. And so, when a group of people kind of like do the same thing that you guys do, and for companies, it is nice to see that happen. But what wasn't nice to see was how Robinhood handled this entire situation, right? So if you had Robinhood as your brokerage app, you couldn't really buy GameStop. They literally stopped you from buying GameStop.
Not just GameStop either. There was a few other stocks that were AMC with Nokia, BlackBerry, Tanger Outlets, I think was another one. There were like 5 or 6 stocks that were like picked out as like the next targets, quote unquote. And then because Robinhood shut them down, everybody kind of moved over to Dogecoin, which miraculously, to be fair, thanks to Elon Musk and some other people tweeting about it, it's kind of shot up from worth less than a nickel to like I think it's like $1.09 now, something like that.
My Dogecoin stock is up. And respectfully, I feel very rich right now. So I feel like I'm amongst the 1%er now. My stock is up $7. Wow. So, I'm a part of the wealthy elite. I was really confused when all this happened, like, cause I'm not really into stocks like that. Like for a long time, I wasn't able to get into stocks, just cause of my mom's job or whatever. So I really was like clueless to like what was happening. I just remember like waking up and it was like a craze. Like everyone was like, what the fuck or whatever. Like they were going crazy. And then like when I really like sat down and like had it explained to me, I'm like, that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, oh, like they're just mad because like the shit that they've been getting away with or the shit that they've been doing is kind of like coming back to like bite them in the ass, which I think is pretty fucked up because that's just the narrative that like keeps popping up. Like when wealthy people, like it's like they try to gatekeep wealth. And then it's like when poor people just try to like edge up just a little bit, not a lot, because they're not getting, not a lot. It's definitely not on the same caliber as them. But like you were talking about average regular day people trying to buy into these stocks just to get like a piece of the pie. And it was like they were like just pissed off. And I was like, that's crazy. But am I shocked? No. But it just was wild to me.
So I was at the same place that most people were at and very angry at Robinhood, but then I listened to Planet Money, and Planet Money actually broke down the whole thing. Like Robinhood is actually the scapegoat in this whole situation, because when
they are, yes.
So Robinhood is just the middleman. Robinhood didn't stop the trade on GameStop. It was Citadel who stopped the trade on GameStop, and Citadel. So basically, Robinhood is a broker. And a broker goes to another broker to buy that stock. It takes 2 days to process a stock for you to get the stock, for you to really own the stock. So what not normally Robinhood does, they give you their whole money to build, and then whatever profit you make when they get that money back from the stock being bought off Wall Street, they put that money back. Reason why they ran out of money because so much people was buying the stock, and their brokerage, which was Citadel and not like a hedge fund, stopped buying the stock. And so at the end of the day, Robinhood took a hit that they kind of didn't deserve, but because most people won't sit down and read in depth about all of that stuff. Like, so I could understand the backlash, but they didn't have a choice. The person that buys the stock for them told them they're not buying no more stock. So they were basically stuck in a shitty situation. They was gonna lose regardless,
And Ryan, I really, that's a great explanation of what happened.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So.
I think like in that scenario, there should be regulations against that, right? If I'm like a regular retail investor and I'm buying stocks, unless like the government says you can't buy this stock, like I should be able to buy whatever the hell I want. And I should be able to sell.
They were the only broker to shut down. They either like TD Ameritrade wasn't letting people do trades. I think Public, which I started using, like they even had put out like a lengthy explanation saying that they couldn't do the trades a lot for really the same reasons that that Robinhood did. Like they're the people that backed them, they just didn't have the money. They were also like there were some concerns about regulatory. There's some regulatory concerns as well, but like I think that's I wouldn't put it on, there should be a law against it. It's like they were trying to do things by the book and they just got caught up because the people backing them were just like, yeah, we can't support this. We can't back you the way that we need to without going through, doing the due diligence, so to speak. So
yeah, to back up Marcus' point, it's literally like they that ass was like the middleman with no product. They had no product. They had nothing to sell. Like, they got stuck in a bad thing. And because most people don't really know about hedge funds and their like mean ways in which they operate, you're gonna attack the person that's in front of you. And like most people don't know, like when you buy a stock off one of these apps, that stock don't get processed till 2 days later because there's a lot of paper transfer. You got to get sent to the floor of Wall Street, and it's literally like you're living like in the 90s. So
I also think like a lot of people are buying stock because they're getting advice from people on the internet, which is nothing wrong with that, because it's like there are people who are in finance or people who have been, investing in stock who just give out free advice, there's nothing wrong with that. But I also feel like a lot of people are kind of clueless, me included, are very clueless as to the back end of how things work or the really breakdown of how things are handled. Like a lot of people are just like, let me download the Robinhood app because like that's what everyone's telling me to do. And then I just, put some money in the Robinhood app and then I just buy a stock. But that's the easy part of it. For us, that's the easy part of it. But if you don't really understand the inner workings of like the stock market, these brokerages, hedge funds, it can be like a lot of like terminology, a lot of numbers, a lot of like terms that just go over your head. So I think that's a lot of what happened. A lot of people were like, so for me, I didn't know this about what Ryan just said. And the way he just explained it makes a lot of sense. And if nobody would have taken the time to explain it to me, I probably wouldn't have known. So I think that's a lot of what it is. A lot of people are just now getting into investing, and it's super easy because you can just do it from your phone. But if you don't really understand it, like, you'll be kind of pissed off because it seems like, oh, Robinhood just woke up one day and was like, you know what, we don't want people to buy into this stock. But really, in actuality, it was at a, it would have cost them if they would have allowed it.
I have a quick question. Do you guys think that, or maybe it's not a quick question, but do you guys think that because what we've seen like in the aftermath of this is that while some people may have been able to get rich if they got in on the GameStop trades and some of the other trades early, a lot of hedge funds been able to make a lot of money off of this. Anyways, like there are some that got hurt, but a lot of other people really made out well. So do you guys think that there was any sort of market manipulation going on here, or by some of the big hedge funds, or do you think this was just something that they were able to just kind of get in with a lot of money, and then they're able to benefit from in a above the board way?
I always thought like this was kind of like a big tent type of scenario. Obviously you have like the retail investors like you and me, but there's like no doubt you had like some other billionaires, some other hedge funds that kind of caught on to this and also made off like a bandit as well. I don't think this is kind of like a true like, the poor stealing from the rich type of story. I just think it's just kind of like
that got blown out of proportion.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of these people that were buying, a lot of these people that were buying these stocks had like $60K in the bank account already.
Yeah.
And they just became millionaires. They were poor people. Poor people didn't really benefit. Like, it was more of a statement for poor people. Like, I could crash your whole system that you just built up and kept us out of. That's the part that really hit, is because.
But I think that just also goes into like, someone creating a narrative and other people running with it.
Yep.
And that's just social media in general, where one person gets on the internet and says something, and then it becomes like a domino effect where other people are like, you know what, I'm gonna go with that too. So like I said, if you're not really understanding, or you don't really have the knowledge or the scope to really like grasp everything that's going on, you're gonna believe it. If someone is saying, oh, I invest in stocks, this is something that I do, and then this is what's going on, and you are clueless, you really don't know, you're going to do your own research, which a lot of people don't do, which is sad. A lot of people don't do their own research. They just get on Twitter, see people talking, and then
investment research is hard, though, to be fair. Like,
there's
a reason people get paid a lot of money for that. That's a lot of work.
That's fair. But it's like, those people could be saying anything. Like, I don't want to believe, I want to believe that people who are in finance and investments are, knowledgeable and they're sharing information. But then on the same side of that, you have people who claim to be knowledgeable, but really aren't. And then they just say things, and then it becomes like a domino effect of other people who are not so knowledgeable, just going off of what one person said or what few people said. And then because honestly, this all started because people were following someone on Reddit.
But to Carly's point, so when this whole thing was going down, my buddy of mine from high school was telling me that like, this is going to piss off too many people. The government's going to step in. I was like, how the hell is this different than Jim Cramer going on CNBC telling you to buy Apple or telling you to buy this stock? To me, it's like all the same thing. It's just that as opposed to it happening on CNBC, it just happened on social media. It's all the same to me.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. Like Marcus said, investment research is very difficult. I'm not, in no way am I making it seem like it's that easy, because a lot of people, and things have changed. Like, if things have changed, like, it's like technology has played a major part in it, and the fact that it's like, it's super easy to just do from from your phone, like whatever. But at the same time, I think, had it not been explained to me personally, someone who's like really not that knowledgeable, I probably would have thought it was like a situation like, oh, like they're just trying to hinder poor people.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the last thing I'll say on it is that populism, the poor or the regular guys taking down Wall Street. I think that, given the fact that a week later GameStop stock has crashed back down, all the other stocks that they kind of hyped up have all kind of crashed back down. It just seems like a regular, just another like pump and dump scheme where they kind of just hyped up the stock, and then as soon as it got high enough, there was just a massive sell off, and that's what we're seeing now. So I don't know what you do with that narrative now. I don't know where that goes, especially because, folks that have $50,000, $60,000 to drop into a stock, I don't know if we can really call them poor. Because when most people don't have savings to tap into in order to kind of make those kind of moves. So
unless they took their student loan payment and then just put it in the stock and then pay for stocks.
But then again, it's like,
if they're from Florida, it's probable that happened. No offense to the good folks in Florida. I just know some people though.
So I still can't get out the fact that that billionaire in CNBC was like, these people are taking their government checks and spending it in the market.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's also kind of like, I don't know. I also kind of felt like that was a little racist.
Although that is a concern though, that people have. Like, I know we'll probably talk about Manchin and the check.
Exactly. That was my segue, Marcus.
Oh, sorry to blow it up for you, but
no, you got it.
That's one of the things that like we're seeing now. Like, I think there was some report, I think it was in the Post, that said that people weren't spending the $2,000 that they got or the $1,400 that we got from Trump. It wasn't even $1,400. It was $1,200, right? The first check.
The first check was $1,200. Yeah.
Yeah, the $1,200 that was given out back like last May. They apparently monitored the way people spent it, and I think only like less than a third were spending it on things like essentials, like food and rent and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were just spending it on, paying off debt or adding it to their savings and home improvement projects. And that's why we're now seeing people like Joe Manchin say, "Hey, we need to take some people out of this benefit and create these arbitrary thresholds because not everybody needs the check." And it's like,
and while that might be true, I also feel like that's kind of like not your business.
It's also a year ago.
Yeah,
we got a whole ass pandemic and an economy, and like
it's really anti-poor. Like, it's really anti-poor in the sense that it's like, I also feel like people tend to monitor like what people do with their government money, and it's not like, okay, like for instance, when it was the whole food stamp thing, like now like there's like stricter regulations on like food stamps, like what you can and cannot use your food stamps on. Yes, okay, cool. Right. Then you have like other government programs like WIC and whatever, but this is not that type of situation. Like the COVID, I don't feel like the stimulus check was it wasn't for that. It was like, it was like, oh, randomly $2,000 were deposited in your bank account because of what's going on as far as this pandemic.
It's not $2,000 though.
No.
Oh
no.
Oh, what was it? What was it at the beginning? It was
1,200.
It was 1,200. I'm sorry, it was 1,200.
Right.
And it was like, to me, it's like, damn, like, it ain't even that much to where if I'm sitting here, I can see if you gave me like $10,000 and I went and blew it on Jordans, then it would be like, oh, okay, yeah, you're wilding. But it's like, it's fucking $12,000. Like at least let me do what the fuck I want to do with the $1,200. Like,
but Carly, even in your own example right there, we've been kind of told throughout our entire lives about trickle down economics, and which is why they passed this $1.5 trillion tax bill or tax cut.
1.7,
Right.
yeah.
7. I'm sorry. So like, if you go out and buy a pair of Jordans, you're putting money back into the economy, right? Isn't
like,
that how it's supposed to work?
But it's like, I feel like, honestly,
trickle down economics only for rich people, man.
Right, but I feel like I feel like it's like these conversations or this rhetoric is very anti-poor, which in turn can, sometimes turn into anti-Black. But at the same time, it's like, these rich people have no worries. Like, you're not worried about anything during this pandemic. Like, shit has probably changed for you as far as how you handle your business, but like, you're good. I think for you to give people $1,200 and then use that and monitor how they spend it just to turn around and be like, well, we're not going to give you no more money because y'all don't know how to use it. It's kind of fucked up, because then what about the people who did use it for essentials? Like, so it's just like, one, what about the people who did use it for essentials? Do they not need it? Two, it's like, it's $1,200. Like, if I want to buy myself something nice because of all the shit that I've been through this year and the fucking country that I live in, it's like, let me do that. Let me do that. Like, at least give me, let me have a piece of happiness for the fucked up situation that I am, that the country continues to put people in because they don't want to help people the way that other countries are doing it. Like, other countries are like basically paying people to stay home. They're paying them monthly. They're doing all these type of things. And meanwhile, America, I feel like, is just constantly harping on whether or not to give people like crumbs. It's fucking crumbs.
This is the only country too that has made a political issue of giving people stuff.
It's not that that serious, and it really pisses me off because it's like it's really not that serious.
It's not.
And you would be helping far more people than the people. Like, if the people are using it for like bullshit, that's cool, whatever. But there are genuinely people who have kids, who have like people like elderly parents that they take care of, or other type of situations, or just may have lost their job or may have their hours reduced, and they were already barely making anything. Then we get into the conversation of the $15 minimum wage. So it's like these people are struggling to begin with. So
and Manchin's against that as well too. Like, he's against the $15 minimum wage.
Can I just?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Can I? So I think Joe Manchin, because he's a Southerner, he has a Southern bias.
Wasn't West Virginia part of the Union?
I'm just gonna say.
It was, but it's a weird place.
It's a very weird place.
It's weird because it's north of Maryland, so it's northwest of Maryland, so it's weird to call it a southern state, but it's like right on the borderline. But it's pretty much, given the fact that it generates very little money, that it has like a very backwards industry where it's controlled by like coal and mining. Mm-hmm. Still, I would say it matches up to the southern states. It's basically northern Kentucky.
Yeah, so I feel like he has a bias against the coastal cities, that he thinks $50,000 is a lot of money because he's from West Virginia. But even as a single person making $50,000 in New York City, that's barely survivable. In California, that's barely survivable. In some states, though, in Atlanta, probably that's barely survivable. Texas, all the big cities, like
especially because the cost of living continues to go up.
Hold on, but Ryan, my thing is that like you work in DC. In DC, $50K is not a lot of money. There should be a DC test. Like, if you're saying $50K, you're well off. Well, like do the test in your own city. Yeah,
like using DC as a blueprint. You know, I agree.
That's what I was saying. Like, Joe Manchin is trying to appeal so much to his conservative base because he basically lives in a sovereign state at this point. Like, he doesn't want to lose anything. That makes him compromise and vote so much for Republicans, because you got to remember, this is a Democrat who vote 52% to support Trump, like off all his bills. Like, he voted 52% of the time to pass all of Trump's bill. Like, this is a guy who you say toe the line, that's who he is. He toes the line between Democrat and Republican.
No, I don't want to like continue to bash Manchin. I understand he's in like a rock and a hard place. You totally could. Like, his state voted 40% to Trump last presidential election.
I'll just say this. I feel like, this constant conversation about whether or not the American people deserve help. First of all, the whole idea that you're trying to hold it as like a bargaining chip or of some sort, or to, really like keep it from people, is really kind of fucked up in the sense that it's not a lot of money to begin with for you to really be, really harping on whether or not to give it to people. Two, it's like we're a year into this thing with really no end in sight, to be honest with you. Vaccinations are still like we're way behind where we should be. So it's like, I just feel like it's the least you could do. It's not a monthly thing. It's not installments. It's just, and plus it's like, you're not even giving them $2,000. You're just giving them $1,400 on top of the $600.
Which I'm still annoyed about.
Right.
And we talked about that before. I'm not going to get back into it.
It's like, it's really insensitive. And it's like, I understand that these people are rich and they're in power. So to them, it's like the peasants at the bottom, I don't really give a fuck about them. But it's like, it's kind of your job to give a fuck about them. And I feel like it's really frustrating, that these people are in office and it's like a game, like, to them. It's a toy. It's like you're doing it. It's very malicious to me. And it's very fucked up, because I just can't help but to think about people who are literally on the brink of like homelessness, or because, there's not really a momentum or a lot of people are still struggling to pay their rent. There hasn't really been like a rent, like there's been a rent freeze, but then, people are worried about when all this is going to be over. I'm going to have to pay back this back rent, which, if you do the numbers is a haunting, they say like money issues, financial issues are like a leading cause in anxiety and mental and depression. And I just can't help but to think about people who are in horrible situations financially and who could really benefit from this $1,400 or this $2,000 in total. So it's really insensitive and it's really like fucked up.
Joe Manchin has worth $3 million.
So
he's someone who's been approached by Republicans multiple times in the last since he came into the Senate, I think in 2009, 2010. So he's basically a Democrat in name only. I hate to do that, but it's pretty much what he is. He supports so many. Again, Ryan said it perfectly. 52%. He's gone along with Trump bills, or supporting things that Trump wants to support. So he's someone. It's unfortunate that he's someone that we have to kind of rely on in order to get democratic things, progressive things done. That's kind of where we're stuck at right now. He's someone who has way too much power and someone who doesn't really stand for anything that's would actually make sense for, especially coming from a state that's as poor as West Virginia is. And I get the fact that $60,000 may be a lot of West Virginia, but it's such a poor state, and I think that denying people money
in the union.
Second poorest state, jeez, yeah. Like again, denying people money just doesn't. I just don't see why that's a winning proposition for him. Other than he's kind of rich, out of touch, and he's one of those fiscal conservative, socially liberal senators that we're stuck with.
But I just don't understand, and we're probably spending too much time on this. I just don't understand what the end game is, right? Like his next election is what, 2024?
Yeah.
2024. I think his next election is.
Yeah, and he might not even run again.
He might not run again, but then
or he might try to run for president.
He might try to run for president.
As the guy that's in the middle, the Senate. Democrats love them. They're Senate whisperers. They're middle-of-the-line centrists.
They do love their centrists. But my thing is, like, voters aren't going to remember that you spent $1.9 trillion versus $1.8 trillion or $1.7 trillion. Right. They're not going to remember. They're not going to care. And there's going to be other opportunities and other bills that you can do bipartisan support with Republicans on.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to die on this?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really understand.
I just don't get that.
I don't understand. I don't understand what's the passion behind like spending so much time debating this. Like, I really just feel like it should have been a one and done. Like, and we could have moved on to something else.
Yeah, moving on. Like, all right, then we can start debating about the $15 minimum wage checks.
There we go. Which we've been debating for years now. Which at this point shouldn't even be $15 anymore. Like but that's a different conversation for a different day.
It's a different I think that we should allow unions to kind of decide.
Yeah, like it's like I just feel like these things that we're spending so much time arguing about is like really like minute and just like not that serious. There's so many other I feel pressing issues that we could spend more time going back and forth about.
All right, so producer Yal is telling us to hop off this topic, which we will. So I just wanted to wrap up with some New York news. Now, we're not a New York podcast, but we do have New York ties. The wonderful Governor Andrew Cuomo is under investigation by his own AG for undercounting the death toll by up to 50%. And also, how are we going to save Andrew Yang's mayoral campaign for New York City?
He's got to stop tweeting about the Brooklyn Nets for one. Wow. That's still. I hate the Knicks as much as anyone, but
that's your life.
I don't think if you're trying to win in New York, you're out here talking crazy about or talking down to the Knicks. I just don't think.
What is he doing? I would never vote for you, bro. You bugging right now.
Why do you support the Knicks though? The Knicks show like. You want to make New York great again.
And their owner's a Republican. He just got Max Rose out of the office.
You're from Florida, bro. You're from Florida, bro. We ain't gonna talk about nothing bad about the Knicks around me, bro. Julius Randle for MVP, man.
I will have you know, I was born in Brooklyn, so the Nets are my second team.
Julius, that's a New Jersey team. They beat in New York.
They were in New York before. They were like what, the New York Nets before? They were
the
New York
Nets, but come on, they were a New Jersey team. They moved to Brooklyn just like everybody else. One of the coming gentrifying the area.
Yeah,
they are gentrifying.
Now they're trying to take over the New York City, and it's like, come on, you're not going to win a mayoral race talking them up at the expense of the
honestly,
up and
he
coming
really
Knicks.
he really leaves a bad taste in my mouth, just like with the
wow.
Like, the bodega situation. I'm really still pissed off about because I feel like a lot of people
say walk into a bodega, bro.
Carly, what happened in the bodega situation?
So the bodega situation, if for those who aren't familiar,
this hurt my heart so much.
Andrew Cuomo felt like Andrew Yang. I'm sorry. Andrew Yang, he was like talking about, oh, like I get breakfast at this bodega, every, whatever. And you see him walking through this, like, it looks like a Whole Foods mini mart, in my opinion. Like, it's as if Whole Foods and 7-Eleven teamed up and created like a little mini mart.
It was really nice.
It was really nice. It was like really nice. It was organized. The lighting was great.
But why wasn't it a bodega though?
It wasn't a
like
bodega.
$4,000 a month out there.
Look, man.
Where's the cat? Where's the ox? Like, where's the? It was too nice. It was too fancy. It was too clean. It wasn't a bodega. Like, and it's okay to say, hey, I get, my breakfast from this. It could have been like a small operated and owned business. And that would have been perfectly fine. But don't call it a bodega, because that's a different thing. And then you have people who are not from New York, New Jersey, who really believe like this is what bodegas are. And it's like, this is not what a bodega is. This is,
And I thought that was what a bodega looked like.
And
I thought it was a 7-Eleven. I was like,
you see what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? But for me, like, I'm from New Jersey. I call them corner stores. But it's like, I can tell the difference between a 7-Eleven and a corner store and a bodega. Like, they're completely different. Like, the ambiance, the vibe, it was.
I was 6 feet. I was 6 feet tall in my senior year in high school. And like, when I walk a bodega, if you walk in a bodega, like a guy like me, like most of the time I have to walk like sideways into the bodega, because like I'm big brolic. Like, you mean, like, it was mad space where this man was at. He wasn't touching nothing.
It was
and it was uncomfortable.
Had a whole camera crew.
They had
very well lit.
No,
bro,
they had bananas and fresh fruit and produce.
Ain't no
going
music
on?
playing in the background, like, feel me? Like, nothing. It was just like,
it was very friendly, very open. Very...
It was like a good morning, sir. Nobody shouting, yo, let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese at 8 a.m. in the morning, bro. Come on, bro. You're not gonna hear a dead bodega in the city. Come on, bro. Come on.
Who is the favorite to win the New York? Is there a favorite at this point?
I thought it was Brooklyn's borough president.
And then there's a lady. I think her name is Maya or something like that.
Maya Wiley.
Yo, you talking about the former MSNBC host or whatever?
I don't know if she's a former. I haven't done a lot of research, but I know she's one of the top choices. Maya Wiley. Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was either like a former cop, and he was like the borough president of Brooklyn, or this guy from Wall Street.
The borough president of Brooklyn is running.
Yeah, and there's a Wall Street guy too that Al Sharpton's backing.
I haven't listened to Al Sharpton advice ever in my life, so.
I'm gonna just say this.
Really comment on that.
I think it's okay. I think sometimes people try too hard, like,
that's what he is doing.
To be relatable. And it's like, you're going to relate to people because of who you are, and people who, relate to you are going to gravitate towards you. And the people that you might struggle relating to, like, you have to, kind of bridge that gap. But, like, I don't know why he thought that was going to go well with New Yorkers, because if you really understand, like, New York culture, like, they really take pride in, like, the shit that is, like, true to
everything.
Yeah, like, it's like everything. So for you to have this gentrified, or, try to gentrify a bodega, like, I don't know why you thought that was going to go well. And then again, he's not from New York City. He's like, he grew up in, like, upstate.
Where's he from?
He's like from upstate New York.
From Poughkeepsie, I think.
Yeah, like that.
Live here. He doesn't
live here. He's not from New York. So he's not from New York City. And I think a lot of people, who are from the other states, like not the tri-state area, don't really understand that, like, all New York is not the same. Like, it's not one big ass city. Like, you have the city, you have like Jersey, and then you have like upstate New York. And it's cool. Like, if you're from upstate New York, from upstate New York. You're from Long Island, you're from Long Island. If you're from the city, you're from the city. All the boroughs are not the same. New York and New Jersey are not the same. So it's like, it's okay. And it just be like, I go to this little mini mart. I go to this little, this little cafe for breakfast. Then you got the people who go to cafes for breakfast. Like, oh, I go to a cafe like that. Andrew Yang's my guy. It would have been just so simple, but he didn't think that one through.
All right, well, hopefully Andrew Yang's listening to this podcast, because we could definitely help turn his campaign around.
Yeah,
I could definitely sign up for a small consulting.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Absolutely.
Of course.
I was thinking, like, maybe like in the ending credits, I'll just add like Andrew Yang for president to the end of. I don't know. All right, guys, that's all I have for this podcast. You guys have been great. To our listeners out there, thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe us. Where you can find us anywhere you can listen to podcasts. We're also on YouTube, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please follow us on Twitter at WYE Liberish on Twitter. All right, guys, that's all I got, and we're out.
Later.